Mark Thompson slammed the front door of his modest suburban home in suburban Chicago, the echo reverberating through the quiet evening like a gunshot. His son, Alex, had always been the quiet one, the kid who preferred books over parties, solitude over crowds. But tonight, something felt off, a nagging itch in Mark's gut that he couldn't ignore. As he dropped his keys on the kitchen counter, he overheard a faint murmur from Alex's room upstairs. Words that sounded too polished, too rehearsed, like a script being read aloud. Mark paused, his hand hovering over the fridge door. Alex was 22, fresh out of community college, working a dead-end job at a local bookstore. He'd never been one for drama. In fact, Mark often worried about how withdrawn his son had become since high school. The divorce from Alex's mother 5 years ago had hit them both hard. But while Mark threw himself into his construction foreman role to numb the pain, Alex seemed to retreat further into himself. What could he be hiding? Mark shook his head, dismissing the thought. He was just being paranoid after a long day. But as the night wore on, Mark couldn't shake it. Sitting in the living room with a beer, he scrolled through his phone absent-mindedly, his mind wandering back to Alex's childhood. The boy had always been sensitive, crying easily over scraped knees or lost pets. Mark had tried to toughen him up. Football practices, camping trips, but Alex resisted, preferring art classes and quiet walks. Now, as an adult, Alex's silence felt like a wall, one Mark didn't know how to breach. Was it depression? Drugs? The possibilities swirled in his head, each more terrifying than the last. Unable to sleep, Mark crept upstairs around midnight. Alex's door was ajar, a sliver of light spilling into the hallway. He peeked in, seeing his son hunched over his laptop, headphones on, speaking softly into a microphone. "Hey everyone, it's Alex here, and today I want to talk about something that's been weighing on me." Mark's heart skipped. What was this? He backed away quietly, retreating to his own room, but the curiosity burned. The next morning, over breakfast, he tried to probe casually. "You up late last night, kid?" Alex mumbled something about studying, avoiding eye contact. Mark nodded, but inside doubt festered. That afternoon, while Alex was at work, Mark's resolve cracked. He entered his son's room, the air thick with the scent of old books and faint cologne. The laptop sat on the desk, password protected, but Mark knew Alex's habits, birthdays, pet names. After a few tries, he was in. His fingers trembled as he opened the browser history. There it was, uploads to YouTube, a channel called Quiet Confessions. Mark clicked, his breath catching. The channel had thousands of subscribers, videos titled things like "My First Crush" and "Coming Out to Myself." He hit play on the latest one, and Alex's voice filled the room, vulnerable and raw. "I've been hiding who I am for so long, afraid of what my dad would think." Mark's world tilted. His son was gay? The revelation hit like a punch, stirring a storm of emotions. Shock, confusion, a flicker of betrayal. Why hadn't Alex told him? Was he that unapproachable? As he watched more, Alex spoke of crushes on boys in school, the isolation of pretending to like girls, the fear of rejection from family. Mark's chest tightened. He remembered dismissing Alex's phases as just being artsy. Had he missed the signs? The guilt gnawed at him, mixing with a deeper fear. What would the guys at work say? His conservative crew, full of locker room jokes, how could he face them knowing his son was different? But beneath the turmoil, a reluctant admiration stirred. Alex's videos were eloquent, helping others feel less alone. Mark closed the laptop, his mind racing. He couldn't confront Alex yet. He needed time to process. That night, as Alex came home, Mark forced a smile, but inside, questions plagued him. How long had this been going on? And why the secrecy? The weight of it all pressed down, making every interaction feel loaded. Over the next few days, Mark obsessed in silence. At work, hammering nails into beams, his thoughts drifted to Alex's words. "I wish I could tell my dad, but he's from a different generation." Was that true? Mark had grown up in a strict household, where men were men, emotions buried deep. But he'd loved Alex unconditionally, or so he thought. Now doubt crept in. Was his love conditional? The internal conflict raged, tearing at his sense of self. He replayed memories. Alex avoiding dates, his discomfort at family gatherings where uncles teased about girlfriends. It all clicked painfully. One evening, Mark sat alone in the garage, staring at old photos. Alex as a toddler, grinning toothlessly. As a teen, withdrawn but kind. Tears pricked his eyes. He'd failed as a father, hadn't he? By not creating a space where Alex felt safe. The shame burned, hotter than any anger. He wanted to hug his son, to say it was okay. But fear held him back. What if Alex rejected him now? The silence between them grew, a chasm widening with each unspoken word. Mark lay awake that night, whispering to himself, "What kind of dad am I if my own kid can't trust me?" The question echoed, unanswered, fueling a growing resolve to bridge the gap before it was too late. Alex stared at his reflection in the bookstore's backroom mirror, adjusting his name tag with shaky hands. The latest video upload had garnered more views than ever, comments flooding in with support and hate. "You're brave," one said. "Disgusting," another spat. But it was the vulnerability that scared him most. The raw exposure of his soul to strangers while his own father remained in the dark. Back home, the tension was palpable. Mark's questions felt probing, his gazes lingering too long. Alex's mind raced. Did he know? The thought sent panic surging through him. Growing up, Mark had been the rock, strong, reliable, but also distant. His affection shone through actions, not words. Alex remembered the divorce, how Mark had bottled his pain, expecting Alex to do the same. "Men don't cry," he'd say, though Alex had seen the cracks. Now, at 22, Alex's secret life on YouTube was his outlet, a place to unpack the confusion of his sexuality without judgment. But the fear of losing his dad loomed large, a shadow over every interaction. At work, Alex's thoughts drifted to Ryan, the guy from his creative writing class last semester. They'd bonded over shared stories, late-night texts evolving into something more. Ryan was out and proud, pushing Alex to be honest. "Your dad loves you," he'd say during their quiet coffee dates in the city. But Alex doubted it. What if Mark saw him as flawed, unworthy? The internal tug-of-war intensified, the joy of finally embracing his identity clashing with the terror of familial rejection. In his videos, he poured it out. "The hardest part is loving someone who might not love you back if they knew the truth." Subscribers related, but it didn't ease the ache. That weekend, Alex met Ryan at a park in downtown Chicago, the autumn leaves crunching underfoot. Ryan's hand brushed his, a simple gesture that sent warmth through Alex's veins. "You look worried," Ryan noted, his eyes searching. Alex hesitated, then confessed about the channel's growing popularity. "What if my dad finds it?" Ryan pulled him close. "Then you'll face it together. Hiding is killing you." Alex nodded, but inside doubt festered. He imagined Mark's face, disappointment, anger. The thought twisted his gut, making him pull away slightly. Ryan sensed it, his voice softening. "I'm here, Alex, but you can't keep this from him forever." Mark, meanwhile, delved deeper into the channel. From his office at the construction site, he watched on his phone during breaks, earbuds in to hide from his crew. Alex's stories painted a picture of loneliness that mirrored Mark's own post-divorce isolation. One video hit hard. Alex talking about a high school crush on a teammate, the shame of hiding it. Mark remembered that year, Alex quitting football abruptly. He chalked it up to laziness, but now saw the pain. Guilt clawed at him, he'd been blind. At home, he tried small talk. "How's work?" But Alex's responses were curt, evasive. Mark's frustration mounted. Why couldn't he just say something? The unspoken truth hung between them like a storm cloud. One night, after a particularly emotional video where Alex teared up discussing societal pressures, Mark nearly broke. He paced the kitchen, fists clenched. "How could I not see?" he muttered to himself. Memories flooded. Alex's mother leaving for a better life, accusing Mark of emotional unavailability. Was she right? Had he passed that on to his son? The self-loathing deepened, a vortex pulling him under. He wanted to confront Alex, to apologize, but pride or fear stopped him. Instead, he left a note on the fridge. "Proud of you always." Vague, but it was a start. Alex saw it the next morning, his heart pounding. What did it mean? Paranoia set in. Maybe Mark knew more than he let on. The conflict escalated when Alex's channel featured a guest, Ryan, anonymously, sharing their budding relationship. "Finding someone who gets you changes everything," Alex said on camera, his voice cracking. Mark watched, a mix of jealousy and sorrow washing over him. Who was this guy? Why hadn't Alex introduced him? The realization stung. His son had built a whole world without him. Tears welled as Mark confronted his own biases. Subtle homophobia from his upbringing bubbling up. "Is this who I am?" he questioned inwardly, the shame intensifying. He skipped the cruise bar night, opting for solitude, where the emotions crashed harder. Alex, sensing the shift, withdrew further. During dinner, Mark's attempt at conversation fell flat. "You seem happy lately," Mark said. Alex froze, fork midway. "Yeah, I guess." Inside, Alex screamed, "Tell him," but the words stuck, fear of shattering their fragile bond overwhelming. Ryan texted later, "You okay?" Alex replied honestly for once. Scared. The night ended with Alex in his room, staring at the ceiling, the weight of his double life crushing him. How much longer could he pretend? The question haunted him, amplifying the emotional turmoil that threatened to consume everything. The comments section exploded after Alex's collaboration with Ryan, messages ranging from heartfelt support to vicious trolls. "Finally, representation," one wrote. "Go to hell," another sneered. Alex scrolled through them in the dim light of his room, each word piercing deeper, fueling the storm inside. Why did being himself invite such hate? And worse, what if Mark stumbled upon this? The thought sent his mind spiraling, replaying worst-case scenarios. Disownment, silence, the end of their father-son tie. Ryan noticed the toll during their next meetup at a cozy cafe in Wrigleyville. "You're distant," he said, reaching across the table. Alex pulled back, whispering, "I can't stop thinking about my dad." Ryan's patience wore thin. "Then tell him, living like this is torture." But Alex shook his head, tears threatening. "You don't get it. He's all I have left after Mom." The argument simmered, Ryan pushing for honesty while Alex clung to secrecy. Inside, Alex wrestled. Was love worth the risk? His heart ached for Ryan, but the fear of losing Mark was paralyzing, a constant whisper of doubt eroding his resolve. Mark, too, was unraveling. At work, a coworker's offhand joke about "those gays on TV" made him flinch. He snapped back, "Watch your mouth," surprising even himself. The guys laughed it off, but Mark's anger lingered, directed inward. How many times had he laughed at similar jabs? The hypocrisy burned, forcing him to confront buried prejudices. That evening, he searched online, "How to support a gay son." The articles hitting like accusations. "Create a safe space," one said. Had he? The guilt intensified, memories of dismissing Alex's sensitivity as weakness flooding back. "I raised him wrong," he thought, the self-reproach a relentless tide. Desperate for connection, Mark invited Alex to a Cubs game, their old ritual. In the stands, amid cheering crowds, Mark tried opening up. "I miss talking like we used to." Alex nodded, but his mind was elsewhere. Ryan's ultimatum echoing, "I can't be your secret forever." The game blurred as Alex's internal monologue raged. "Tell him now." "No, not here." The indecision gnawed, making every cheer feel mocking. By the 7th inning, tension peaked. Mark sensed it. "Something on your mind, son?" Alex hesitated, heart racing. "Nah, just tired." The lie tasted bitter, widening the emotional gulf. Back home, Alex uploaded a new video pouring out the conflict. Loving someone means risking everything. But what if the cost is your family? Subscribers empathized, sharing stories of rejection that mirrored his fears. One comment stood out. "My dad found my channel and it changed us for the better." Hope flickered, but doubt smothered it. What if Mark reacted like the horror stories, anger, eviction? The vulnerability of exposure terrified him. Yet the channel had become his lifeline, a space where he felt seen. But at what price? The emotional weight pressed heavier, tears streaming as he hit publish. Mark discovered the video that night, his routine check turning torturous. Hearing Alex's pain, articulated so poignantly, broke something inside him. "He's suffering because of me?" Mark realized, sobs racking his body in the empty living room. He thought of his own father's stern disapproval, how it shaped him into a man afraid of feelings. Was he repeating the cycle? The revelation crushed him. A cascade of regret for every missed opportunity to say, "I love you." He wanted to rush upstairs, to hold Alex, but uncertainty held him frozen. What if he said the wrong thing? The fear amplified his isolation, turning the house into a prison of unspoken truths. The next day, Alex received a text from Ryan. "We need to talk." They met at the park, where Ryan's words cut deep. "I love you, but I can't hide anymore." Alex's world cracked. Choosing meant losing. "Please, give me time," he begged, voice breaking. Ryan walked away, leaving Alex alone on the bench, sobs heaving. Why couldn't life be simple? The heartbreak mingled with self-loathing, for being gay in a world that judged, for cowardice in facing his dad. He wandered home, the emotional storm raging unchecked. Mark saw Alex's red eyes at dinner, concern bubbling over. "You all right?" Alex snapped. "Fine." The outburst hung heavy, both retreating to their rooms. Mark stared at the ceiling, whispering, "I have to fix this." But how? The desperation grew, a churning sea of emotions threatening to drown him. Alex, meanwhile, curled up, replaying Ryan's departure. The pain was excruciating, a raw wound exposing every insecurity. In that moment, the secrecy felt like poison, corroding his soul. Yet, the fear persisted, a barrier to healing that only deepened the despair. Ryan's absence left a void in Alex's chest, an aching emptiness that colored every moment. He stared at his phone, willing a message to appear, but silence mocked him. "I pushed him away," he thought, the regret a sharp blade twisting deeper. The channel, once a sanctuary, now felt like a curse, exposing his vulnerabilities to the world while his real life crumbled. Subscribers noticed his hiatus, comments pleading for updates, but Alex couldn't summon the energy. Inside, the conflict boiled. Authenticity versus safety, love versus family. Why did being true to himself demand such sacrifice? The questions looped endlessly, fueling a depression that wrapped around him like fog. At work, Alex's distraction led to mistakes, misshelving books, forgetting customers. His boss pulled him aside. "What's going on?" Alex mumbled excuses, but inwardly he screamed. Returning home, Mark's concerned glances only heightened the paranoia. "He knows," Alex convinced himself, every casual question feeling like an interrogation. Dinner was torture, small talk laced with unspoken accusations. "Pass the salt," Mark said. Alex heard. "Tell me your secrets." The pressure built, a volcano ready to erupt, his mind a battlefield of fear and longing. Mark's turmoil mirrored his son's, amplified by helplessness. He watched Alex withdraw further, the boy's pallor and silence screaming pain. "I caused this," Mark berated himself, replaying videos where Alex spoke of isolation. One night, he drafted a message anonymously on the channel. "Your dad would understand if you gave him a chance." Sending it felt like betrayal but desperation won. Alex saw it the next day, heart-stopping. Was it Mark? The suspicion ignited panic, tears flowing as he deleted the comment. "I can't handle this," he whispered, the emotional overload threatening to shatter him. Seeking solace, Alex wandered to the lakefront, the wind whipping his face. Memories of Ryan flooded, kisses under streetlights, whispered promises. I miss you, he texted. But no reply. The rejection stung, echoing past hurts. School bullies, unrequited crushes. Why was his love deemed wrong? Society's judgments infiltrated his thoughts, amplifying self-doubt. Maybe they're right, he pondered darkly, the despair deepening into an abyss. He returned home broken, collapsing into bed, sobs muffled by pillows. The weight of it all, secrecy, loss, fear, crushed his spirit, leaving him hollow. Mark couldn't ignore it anymore. Overhearing Alex's cries, he knocked softly. "Can I come in?" Alex wiped his eyes, voice hoarse. "What do you want?" Mark entered, sitting awkwardly. I found your channel." The words hung, explosive. Alex froze, terror surging. "Get out." But Mark stayed, voice cracking. "I'm sorry, son. For not seeing. For not being there." Alex's anger erupted. "You spied on me? How could you?" The confrontation unleashed years of pent-up emotion. Alex's accusations of neglect, Mark's defenses crumbling into apologies. "I was scared too," Mark admitted, tears streaming. "Scared of failing you." The room filled with raw honesty, Alex revealing his sexuality, the pain of hiding. "I thought you'd hate me." Mark shook his head. "Never. I love you, no matter what." But the words, though sincere, couldn't erase the betrayal. Alex's heart tore between relief and rage. "You invaded my privacy." Mark nodded, guilt etched deep. "I did, and I'm ashamed. But it opened my eyes." The argument circled, emotions peaking in shouts and sobs, exposing wounds neither knew existed. Alex spoke of Ryan, the breakup. Mark shared his own fears of societal backlash. As the night wore on, exhaustion set in, but the catharsis lingered. Mark hugged Alex tentatively, the embrace awkward yet profound. "We'll figure this out," he promised. Alex pulled away, conflicted. Forgiveness hovered, tantalizing but elusive. In bed later, Alex's mind raced. Was this the start of healing, or just more pain? The vulnerability terrified him, yet a sliver of hope emerged. Mark, downstairs, stared at photos, vowing change. But doubt whispered. Could he truly accept this? The emotional intensity left them both raw, the future uncertain, hanging by a thread of fragile trust. The next morning, Alex called Ryan, voice trembling. "My dad knows." Ryan's surprise turned to support. "I'm proud of you." They agreed to meet, the possibility of reconciliation igniting a spark amid the chaos. But as Alex hung up, the weight returned. Society's eyes, family's judgments. The drama wasn't over. It was just beginning. The emotional stakes higher than ever. The reconciliation with Ryan felt like a fragile bridge over turbulent waters. Their coffee date charged with unspoken regrets. "I shouldn't have pushed," Ryan admitted, hand reaching for Alex's. But Alex's mind wandered to Mark, the confrontation still echoing. "Everything's changed," he whispered, the emotional residue clinging like smoke. Relief mingled with resentment. Mark's acceptance came at the cost of privacy, a violation that stung deeply. How could he rebuild trust when the foundation felt cracked? The internal war raged fiercer, love for his dad clashing with the betrayal's bitter aftertaste. Mark threw himself into education, reading books on LGBTQ+ allyship, joining online forums anonymously. "I want to be better," he told himself. But each story of parental rejection mirrored his fears. What if his crew found out? The construction site banter now grated, every joke a reminder of the world Alex faced. At home, he tried gestures, cooking Alex's favorite meal, leaving articles on acceptance. But Alex's responses were guarded, the wound fresh. "Thanks," he'd say, but inside, doubt festered. Was this genuine or pity? The emotional distance persisted, a silent scream in every glance. Tension peaked when Alex's channel went viral after a video recounting the discovery. "My dad found out, through my secrets," he shared, tears flowing on camera. Subscribers rallied, but trolls attacked. "Your dad's a snoop." Views soared, bringing media attention. A local news outlet reached out for an interview. Alex hesitated, the exposure terrifying. "Do it," Ryan urged. "Own your story." But Mark's reaction loomed. Would he approve? The decision tore at Alex, amplifying the drama. Personal pain, now public fodder. Mark watched the video in horror, his anonymous meddling backfiring. "I hurt him more," he realized, sobs racking him alone in the garage. Memories assaulted. His father's cold shoulder after the divorce, labeling him a failure. Had he become that man? The self-hatred surged, a tidal wave drowning rationale. He confronted Alex that night. "I saw the video. I'm so sorry." Alex's eyes blazed. "You think sorry fixes it? You stole my truth." The argument escalated, voices rising in a crescendo of pain. Mark defending his intentions, Alex unleashing years of suppression. "I hid because of people like you." The clash unearthed deeper layers. Mark's unspoken grief over the divorce, how it hardened him. Alex's isolation, the societal shame internalized. "I felt wrong my whole life," Alex cried. Mark broke down. "I made you feel that way. God, forgive me." The room pulsed with raw emotion, hugs turning to holds as they wept together. Forgiveness crept in, tentative but real. "I love you, Dad," Alex murmured, the words a balm on festering wounds. Mark clung tighter. "And you, son. Always." But healing wasn't linear. Ryan's return brought joy, yet Mark's awkward meeting with him stirred unease. "Nice to meet you," Mark said, forcing a smile. Inside, he grappled with visuals of his son's life. Intimacy he couldn't fathom. "Is this okay?" he questioned nightly, biases resurfacing despite efforts. Alex sensed it, the subtle tension fueling new doubts. A family dinner with extended relatives loomed, uncles known for conservative views. What if they find the channel? Alex fretted to Ryan. The fear reignited, emotional stakes skyrocketing. The interview aired, Alex's story touching thousands. Support poured in, but so did hate mail, threats, slurs. Mark read them, rage boiling. "No one hurts my boy," he vowed, confronting his own past complacency. At work, when a coworker mocked, "Those types," Mark exploded. "That's my son you're talking about." The admission silenced the sight, but inside, pride swelled amid terror. Alex learned of it later, tears flowing. "You did that for me?" Mark nodded. "I'd do anything." The moment bridged gaps, emotions cresting in profound connection. Yet, as the dust settled, uncertainties lingered. Alex's channel evolved, focusing on advocacy, but the personal cost haunted. Ryan proposed moving in together, a step forward laced with dread. Mark encouraged it, masking his loneliness. "You'll always have a home here," he said, voice thick. In quiet moments, both reflected. Alex on reclaimed identity, Mark on growth through pain. The journey had scarred, but strengthened. As Alex uploaded a final video thanking subscribers, and his dad, the emotional release was cathartic, tears of closure. In the end, their bond endured, forged in fire. But was the invasion of privacy justified if it led to this understanding?